To this look now, you can add mascara, lashes, a bit of eyeshadow, goodness, maybe even some lip gloss because my lips feeling really dry. Hey loves, thanks for joining me for another one. This is the look. Let's get into it. So today, to fake this full face, we are going to be using our foundation, and we're going to be focusing that primarily in the center of our face. And the reason for this is really tip number one, which is to ensure that you focus on the center of your face for the most coverage, the most definition, all of that. And it's really just because we talk to each other face to face as opposed to sideways. We don't generally stand up and just talk to each other like that unless we're like doing something else anyway. But it's usually face to face. So we're just gonna focus most of our efforts in the center of the face just to ensure that that has the most coverage. Apply this primarily to the areas that I need the most coverage. For me, that's above my lip because I have little melasma there. Down the bridge of my nose and a little at the sides of my nose as well. I have a bit of discoloration there. I have a little bit of breakouts and whatnot, so I'm not gonna focus too much of it there, but I do want to just add light coverage because I also have some dark marks. So that's gonna be it for me. As I blend, I'm just gonna stamp it into my skin to further enhance the amount of coverage that I get from this little bit of foundation. All right, now that is done, and that's gonna go in with my highlight color. And I'm gonna be using the LA Girl Pro Conceal, and I'm just gonna take a little bit of that and put it onto my palette. And this is literally just from me spreading it all across my face. I was just able to achieve this mapping. And I put some over my lip just because if we highlight every other part of the face and not over the lip, it tends to look weird, almost like you have a discoloration or a mustache on the top of your lip. Not cool. So I'm gonna use my beauty blender, well, my beauty sponge really, and just blend that out. So now that that is blended out as evenly as we can get it at the moment, I am then just going to go straight to tip number 2, which is after we focus on the center of our face, which is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is then using pressed powders to give the extra coverage that you may need. Now, I dropped one of these a little bit earlier and it broke, which is my usual shade for the center of my face. So because of that, I'll be using my Sacha Buttercup. However, typically for the center of my face, I would use a pressed powder that is gonna be the same color as my highlight shade. And what that's gonna do is that's not only gonna set the makeup quickly, but it's also gonna just provide a veil of extra coverage. And just press it right under my eye. And because we haven't really applied much product to the forehead, just make sure you dust that away. You don't want to be looking like a crazy lady. So next press powder we're going to use it like a bronzer. And this is just a darker shade, more like a darker, warmer shade. And I'm going to take it around the perimeter of my face, just around the edges. And this is going to not only set and give me that extra coverage, but it's also going to chisel and bronze the perimeter of my face just a bit to help restore that warmth to my skin that the Buttercup powder may have just taken away a little bit. And I like to just very lightly, whatever's left on the brush, go over my highlighted areas, and what that does is that it just blends everything in very nicely. For a little bit of a nose snatch, like not a lot, but just a very natural one, and using that same powder, I'm just gonna go down and along the side of my nose. All right, so I like how that looks, just a little bit more. And taking my bronzer brush again, I'm just gonna go over everything, making sure everything is well blended. And we're moving on to tip number 3. You have to do your brows. In order to really fake a full face of makeup, or to fake that you actually took time to get yourself together, I mean, you are taking time, but take longer than you actually did. The best way to do it is to fix your brows. Your brows are the frame of your face after all. And once they're done and they're groomed and looking nice, it tends to make the entire face look pulled together. So we're just gonna do that quickly. So now that the brows are drawn in and looking a bit fuller, this next step is optional. You do not have to do this, and I certainly don't do this every day. But for the purpose of the video, I am going to, geez, if I can find a brush, I'm going to just add a little bit of concealer underneath my brow to clean them up a little bit. Good, brows are on. Moving on to step number 4. Step number 4, what I like to do to add extra oomph to the look, because you can leave it here like this if you are not into this, but for me, I like to add some blush. I feel like blush just makes the entire face look well put together and cheery, and you just look overall happy and a bit more glowy. And I'm using the same brush girl, that I did the bronzing with. I'm just gonna use that exact same brush and apply it to my cheekbones. I'm just gonna set my face a little bit. Next, I'm just gonna use this everyday mascara that I have. Big difference. And this is it. This is how I fake a full face when I don't have time to actually do a full face. And from here, if you wanted to, you can go in and add some inner corner highlight to your eyes. You can add some highlight to your cheekbones, those kinds of things actually. Resist highlight? What? Listen, this is it. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Until next time, loves. Mwah.